Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Pirate Bay podcast. You're here with myself, DJ Rex. Who else we got in the building?
You got Lee here, back again.
And we're here for another week, giving you our reviews and talking about content. Before we get into it, how you been, man? How are you?
I've been all right, man. You know what I mean? Just here, really. Just up and down. You know what I mean? Just checking on everyone, making sure everyone's all right. And just relaxing and preparing, really, just for a lot of things to come.
Definitely hear that. We've got a lot of stuff in the woodworks over the next couple of months. So should be very, very interesting. Sorry. But what have you been getting into this week, bro? What have you been watching?
I just started Cursed.
Okay. You love a good horror, innit? Love a good horror.
I just started that new show, Cursed, on Netflix. Like, it's basically based on like the legend of King Arthur, but It's got to do with like witchcraft, and obviously like the backstory before King Arthur. There was a witch that basically became a queen. So I haven't really finished it yet. I've only just kind of started it, but it's going into the Arthurian legend of King Arthur and everything like that. And it's got that kind of Witcher vibe to it. So did you ever watch The Witcher?
No, I still haven't seen that.
It's got that kind of Witcher vibe to it, but it's quite interesting. But the only thing I didn't know about it, which kind of shocked me, like when I was watching it, was the fact that it's made by Frank Miller. So Frank Miller done the comic book to it.
Oh, okay. So Frank wrote the comic book as well.
Yeah, Frank Miller's the guy that done 300. He done Sin City. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So has it got that 300 style about it, or
it does? It not a little bit does. A little bit it does. It's a little bit.
Okay, cool. When you said Witcher, I was thinking more like Game of Thrones vibe.
Do you know what? I'll take that back. I'll take that back.
What do you mean?
It's not Frank Miller. I always get confused. Yeah. I'll take that back. My bad. Listen, don't crucify me. I apologize. It was made by Mark Miller. I always get confused for some reason. It's the names, the Miller. So Mark Miller.
Wrong name in that, but that's like,
be like, yo, nah, you're wrong, man. You can't say that. You got it wrong. But it's made by Mark Miller. So Mark Miller made he made I keep on laughing. He made Kick-Ass.
Oh, okay.
He wanted it as well.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to remember all of these people's names, you know, man. You don't get no bonus points for no.
I get bonus points, man. I get bonus points. You know me already, man. My knowledge a lot of the time, bro. Like I just keep these people's heads in my thing. But yeah, man, it was Mark Miller that done it. So when I saw that he was attached to it, like at first I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be crap, man. This is just dead, like, you know what I mean? And then I saw Mark Miller, I was like, ooh, okay, now it's interesting because I loved Kick-Ass, you know what I mean? I loved Kick-Ass and I loved The Wanted. So I know that he's a good writer and he knows how to put together a great story, you know what I mean? So if him going back into the past and talking about the Arthurian legend and all that stuff like that, you know what I mean? Then I just thought to myself, yeah, this show's going to be okay, you know what I mean? It's going to be good. So
I love
need to finish.
So go on.
No, I'd say I need to finish it basically.
You know what I was gonna say? I love how these like big directors and producers are like producing stuff for Netflix and all of these online services now that come like movies. Like they've got like big like Hollywood movie budgets, and it's just on their streaming services. That it's nuts, isn't it? We're like a golden era for content.
It's true.
And there's bare stuff, but I've been watching this week. Off the back of Fair City, so we spoke about Fair City briefly last week. I finished it. I didn't realize it's only 3 episodes. Like I got to the second episode. It was you that told me that it's only 3 episodes. I'm like, damn! I thought it was a good 12 episodes. Like, but yeah, that was good. Talking about how they brought down the 5 mafia crime families in New York. That was actually sick. I probably enjoyed that, even though it was brief. But off the back of that, yeah, you know what I went to watch? I started watching, yeah. Have you seen The Irishman?
Yeah, I have. No, I haven't finished watching it. You know what?
Yeah,
That's
me
a
neither.
damn long crap. That
Oh, it's
film
like
is long, man. Like,
I've got like an hour left, so I watched it. Watched it in 2 hours, in 2 1 hour segments. I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna watch the rest of it maybe tonight. Yeah, but like obviously Scorsese in it. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's Scorsese at his best, but rather sick. Like I don't know. I've got a soft spot for like mafia films, innit? I think maybe let's do an episode on like mafia and mob films, innit?
we should. I think that should be the next one.
Yeah,
I think that should be the next one.
we'll do that next because I think that genre is just it's got so many classics and even TV shows like The Sopranos.
Mm.
They've got like a wealth of of content and even
Casino, Goodfellas, The Godfather.
Godfather. There's so much.
So many, man. Like it just goes into it just goes in deep. Like you talk about like the mob and the mob movies. Like Scorsese like pioneers them, man. You know what I mean?
When it comes to mob movies, mafia movies,
Francis Popular, Brian De Palma, they kind of just even things like Scarface, like you know what I mean? Like that's the mob.
Yeah,
you know? Narcos, that's the mob. Like, that's the cartel. Like literally, that is literally the Mexican cartels. It's so much, man.
But you know, it's I mess with. Don't get me wrong. I mess with the South American cartels, yeah. But I'm talking about the pally. Talking about the wise guys, like you know them, man.
The wise guys, hey,
you're wise guy, huh? I'm talking about them, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I mess with the South American man, but the Italian man are just like they're just.
Okay, we got to break up them. We got to do like a cartel one, then a mob one. I don't know, but there's so much we could talk about. But
well, you know what we could do? We could do the cartel versus the mob.
Ooh.
Who you siding with on that? Who you siding with on that?
Honestly, I'll probably start with the cartel, man.
Pablo.
Ooh, are you mad? Hey, Pablo.
Nah. You know, that's next week's episode right there. Cartel versus the mob. Let's see who's gonna be rolled out for the winner. But with that, all right, let's roll on to our topic for this week.
Wait, sorry to cut you.
Sorry, go on.
I don't want the viewers to actually crucify me, but I was right the first time. I just researched it.
Yeah. So it
was Frank Miller. I'm sorry. No.
Really?
Bro, I can't lie to you. Yeah, my head is scrambled today. Like
really, nigga.
My head is scrambled today. I'm all over the place. I'm being serious. But
so it is
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, like big man thing, innit? Sorry, innit?
So it's minor. But all right, let's just drop this and go in. Oh, wrong one. I need to
remember like right in the comments, like these man are buzzing you there.
Hey, man, it's just one of those days. All right, let's go. So our topic of the week for this week is something we spoke about last week. Actually, we touched on it, but I think we need to give it a full on breakdown. Yeah. So our topic of the week this week is "I May Destroy You" by Michaela Coel. Hey, talk to me. What did you think first and foremost? So you've seen all of it now, yeah?
I've actually seen all of it now. I could actually say I'm finished it. I'm done. Like I'm ready for season 2. If there's going to be a season 2, I am ready for season 2. Michaela Coel is a genius. I'm being dead honest. She's a genius. I'll shout out there, like, she's too sick, man. Like, seriously. Like, what she done with that show, like, the way she writ it, like, nah, I'll give her props, man. I'll give her props. I don't blame her for literally doing what she done. When I was reading about her, like, telling Netflix to piss off, yeah, and her agents at, like, what creative artists, she told them to kind of piss off. And obviously, she, like, full control of the show. Do you know what I mean? And the BBC kind of gave it that. You know what I mean? I reckon BBC backed it because obviously as well, you know what I mean, her being British as well, they probably think, you know what, you can't mess with one of our girls like that, you know what I mean? And I rate that, 100% I rate that, because the show, to me, was the perfect show. It was the perfect show, man.
No, it was very, very, very well put together. And I think, as you said, hats off to her because she wrote it, produced it, and directed some of the episodes. And I think on top of it, I think it's about her experiences as well. So I think, like, a lot of the time, the most powerful stories and the stories that resonate the most are stories that are based on real life events. and I feel like the
We
show
were
captured
talking about
well.
that the other day. We spoke about that for years. Like we spoke about that for years, man. Even our life experiences is of what we've gone through. Like if we would put it down on paper,
But it'll be a show similar to this, man. Like, you
it will be a show similar to this. Like,
know what I'm saying, a show similar to this. But so what did you enjoy the most about it? Let's start with the good.
the good. I enjoyed the representation of like it being a solid black leading cast.
Mm.
Like they done a good job with that as well. Like the cast, it was casted perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It was casted perfectly, and I enjoyed the fact that it kind of represented Hackney. Like obviously,
Yeah,
like looking at it, I'm not gonna lie. Like looking at, it, I was like, oh, I recognize there, and I know there. And my college was around the corner. I used to work around there. You know what I mean? I love that representation as well. Plus, I love the fact that literally with Michaela, you saw the destruction of her character,
mm-hmm.
literally like as how bubbly and laughing she was, and how she was before with her friend Terry,
Mm-hmm.
and literally like yeah, how you went saw the characters of Arabella and Terry, how they just kind of grew up, and then what they went through, and literally they were just kind of like party animals, and you know what I mean. As I said, like Arabella, she was the writer. That's Michaela Coe's character,
Yeah.
and then obviously then you had Terry as well, which was like her close friend, and how things just came about, how it all started from episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone hasn't seen it, right, I'm not going to try and really spoil it for you, but it does deal within the subject of rape.
Mm-hmm.
And literally you see that co-ascend through the whole kind of like, you see it co-ascend through the whole episodes. They touch on that subject, and it's like they don't let go of that subject. They keep on going back to it, which is important, and especially with a lot of the thing to do with the whole Me Too movement that was going on a couple of years ago, that is still going on today, and like women's rights and whatnot. Like I loved it. Like to me, like she definitely pioneered as a champion. Do you know what I mean? To show that, yeah, like this is women standing up and saying, yeah, this is us doing our thing, to say we're not having it no more.
No, no, definitely. I agree with you on that as well. I think one of the most, what I wouldn't say touching things, but the things that stood out to me about all of it, yeah. Obviously, it deals with sexual assault, yeah.
Yeah.
But it deals with it in a variety of ways. So it's like it's one show about a group of friends, and then there's different levels of sexual assault. So there's the sexual assault that Arabella goes through. That's the focal point. That's the main point. In which I think she was drugged, and then she was sexually assaulted, and then you move on to what was the Kwame, and then Kwame going on a grinder hookup, having sex with the person, then the person sexually assaulting him afterwards. So it deals with sexual assault in that way. Then she's basically sexually assaulted again, which is when her and the guy having sex, and he takes off the condom and doesn't tell her, which is stealthing. And then you've got Terry's, I don't know if you would classify it as a sexual assault, but the kind of misleading of her when she has the threesome with the two guys in Italy. And I think she was deceived. And I think, and then there's also even little things like when Arabella locks Kwame in the room with that guy that she knows is kind of interested in him. And then it's kind of like, it takes you through what sexual assault actually really looks like and how it plays out. Because it's like the one with her and the guy, where he takes off the condom, that's not a man jumping out of a bush, or that's not someone slipping a pill in your drink. Do you know what I'm saying? Or the one with Terry, and even the one with Kwame, it's like they're in familiar settings, or they're in settings that they maybe quite happily put themselves in, but you're still able to be sexually assaulted in a variety of ways. And I think that is probably what stood out the most to me, because it was like, it shows people that sexual assault isn't just a person jumping out of a bush or putting a pill in your drink and sexually assaulting you. So I think that's what stood out to me the most, in terms of just the way they weave that all in. But I feel like they touched upon so many subjects, like social media, like, you know, when she was getting famous on social media, she was blowing up on social media,
Yeah.
It started like sending her crazy a bit. Do you know what I'm saying? It started like
Yeah. She
setting
became
her over the
super
edge.
strict with her phone a lot of the time, is like, and her friends were kind of complaining in that sense. Whereas like, come off your phone now, like give it a break, innit? You know what I mean? And she was like, oh, 1 minute, and then she was asking people for chargers because she needed to charge her phone so she can report what was going on. But literally, if you look at it, yeah, if you actually look at it, yeah, right, the name of the show, it says it alone. I May Destroy You. Do you know what I mean? And it's like literally like the whole situation which she was dealing with the rape, um, with the fact that she fell in love with this Italian guy, Biagio.
Biagio, my
Yeah,
love,
Biagio. That was
shut her.
yeah, Italian drug dealer, part of the mob. Yeah, part of the mob.
You know what's interesting about Biagio's character, yeah? Like,
Yeah,
and the thing is, it's, as well, I think the way it was written and the way it was shot, yeah, like you were never quite sure where they stood in their relationship. It was
yeah,
very like up and down, and it was like even when he told her, when she told him, when Arabella told him what had happened to her, then he was kind of blaming her, not directly. Was like, oh, you should have done this, and you should have done that. And I think again that touches on things that happen in real life. That's like maybe that's how some people feel in it. Like when they're sexually assaulted, they can't talk to anybody because they feel like people are going to blame you or say you shouldn't have done this or you should have done that or you should have done better in this scenario. So I like the fact that, like, not like he had that reaction, but I think that was a very real reaction that some people may get. And also the fact that she flew to Italy, went to his yard,
yeah,
he
yeah.
sat down with her and was cool. Then when she went out, he locked the door, and I was like, it's
Yeah.
strange, yeah, but I can imagine that happening in real life, innit? Like, because you know,
Yeah.
certain time man don't want to face, they don't want to have that conversation with you. They just want you to, they just, you know what I'm saying? Like, just want you to go away.
He tried to duck her, man. He tried to duck. Like when I saw that episode,
Keep
that to
it in
me
the head.
was deep. That episode was deep, but it's like I can see that with the episode there, she tried to hold on to Biagio. She tried to
Mhm.
hold on to a piece of herself, and she tried to change for him. And you know, like with when you're baptized, when she went into the water at the very end of the episode, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she was reborn into a new person. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like someone that was stronger, someone that was not having it, and someone that said to himself, you know what, like fuck this, innit? Like I'm just gonna basically just do what I gotta do. Do you know what I mean? And
100%.
that's one thing I thought was so powerful about that. Literally, when she just kind of woke up and she was by herself, she looked around, she had none of her friends, no one around her. Her phone was dead, so she couldn't go on social media. She couldn't ask for help. She just had her passport, and then literally she just looked around and she just thought, you know what? Like the sea was always the most comforting thing for her, innit? Like that's what made her remember, as in like, all right, and called that love for Biagio or whatnot. But then she went into the sea, and then literally it just ended, and it was just like, okay, now the next episode, what's gonna come about it? You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna make her stronger. Like, is she gonna be broken? Is she dead? Like, you didn't know, innit? And then when you watch the next episode, you see her as a completely different person. She
Mhm.
just wasn't having it, man.
You know what I would say, yeah? One of my
Mm.
favorite episodes, yeah, and I think it was so well written, yeah, was the episode where they flashed back to when they were in school.
Yeah, that was good.
I think
That was,
that episode was so well written, yeah, because it's like especially if you've been around kids that age, yeah, that's how they interact. It's like they're smart, yeah, but they talk rubbish at the same time. If that makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
There's a certain immaturity about them, but like they could be clever, but like a lot of the things that they're coming out with it's just stupid, like just nonsense. So I feel like she captured that.
with the phone.
Yeah, with the phone. With the phone. The thing is, you know what makes me laugh? Yeah, it's like, and even the way they set that up as well, because it's like I can't remember what's her name, the character that runs the rape group.
Oh,
I can't remember her name.
uh,
Is it? It's not Theo. Is it Theo?
yeah, it is. It's Theo. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Theo.
Theo.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. With her character, so it's like the way they introduced her character. She was like, "This is what happened to me. This is what's happened to me. This is what's happened to me." And then when we got back to that episode, it was like, okay, she tried to frame the little boy, because obviously the sex they had was consensual, and she basically set him up, um, And then
He's a little hustler though, man. What's she
yeah,
done?
yeah,
She hustled him.
she
She
hustled,
hustled him.
took his money. And the thing is, that whole thing was just not weird to me, but it was like you hate to think about school kids in that, but that's what a lot of them are doing, innit? And even when we were in school, like people were doing the madness, innit? But
Yeah, it's true.
the fact that she tried to stitch him up, and then at the end of that episode, that whole reveal of her mum had made her lie about her dad doing stuff to her, and then
Yeah,
it
get custody.
to get custody of her, and then the way she said to the guy, "Your wife's a liar." I was crying, and then, but what that made me think is that okay, that's two occasions, yeah, that we know that character has lied about being sexually assaulted. So, was Terry right in the fact that she thinks that Theo, this is just a big hustle for her? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like it leaves.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like, the thing is, we never really got the answer to that question. And it was she a genuine? Had she genuinely been sexually assaulted and thought she could help people, or is she doing it for the wrong reasons? And like we never really got an answer to that.
You never got an answer to it. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? I reckon there should be a season 2. But from my interpretation of it, I reckon that Thea was just a hustler. I reckon she was just doing what she had to do to survive, and she just naturally had that hustler instinct about her. You know what I mean? It's like what she was saying, how she was doing things. Do you know what I mean? Even when she set up the group, or whatever, and then she kind of revealed to Arabella that literally, like, yeah, if I kind of pull in the numbers of like ethnic minorities for the, you know, like for the animal campaign, like vegan, like literally, like, then obviously I get peace for this, innit? You know what I mean? And then literally, then obviously Arabella just thought, you know what, at the end, innit, like, fuck it, innit? I like chicken, innit? I like fried chicken. Start eating the chicken.
That bit was hilarious. But you know what? You're right in the fact that when you think about Theo's character, everything that we saw her do was kind of motivated by money when you actually think about it. And it's like, it was subtle. It wasn't overly stated, but she was hustling when she was young. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I swear when we first introduced her character, she's just finished like stealing something.
Yeah.
She stole something for her stepdad's present. She went to school, hustled the guy. Then when she was an adult, she's hustling to get Arabella in the thing. We saw a woman passing an envelope in when they were in the group. So I don't know if she was taking some sort of donations for that group. So to me, like, maybe without them actually saying it overtly, like, she's just a hustler, innit? Like,
and she was a hustler, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, to me, she was literally just a survivor, man. Like, you can see it. I really like Theo's character. I couldn't lie. I proper liked her character. Like, even when you saw her, like, she done the madness when she was younger. Trust me, she done the madness when she was younger. But I like the fact that her character was just like, literally, like, I'm doing what I've got to do in it to survive in it. You know what I mean? Like, boy, I don't know. It was a different, complex character, but it's like, I can see where you see. The funny thing about it is this as well. What I found quite funny is a lot of the time, Terry, she wasn't stupid. She was actually quite smart. Do you know what I mean? She was actually quite smart. And when she did have the threesome, it's like, I don't think she was in the right state of mind as well. Remember she had been drinking. She was doing cocaine. So literally, she wanted to do something that was quite fun in like doing it abroad. You know what I mean? But in that sense, you know what I mean? Like, she was kind of ginnelsed in that sense. Like, she was ginnelsed into having sex with two guys, but she consented to it. It's not like to say she was raped or anything. She consented to it, and
that's the thing as well, because that's where and the thing is, obviously, it's difficult for us as men in it, because obviously we've got male privilege. It's difficult for us as men to comment on certain things here, but I feel like watching that and watching how that scene played out, it's like she consented to it, but she was deceived, and that's where that's a very, very grey area. And especially like with all of the conversations that happen on the social media, it's like, can someone consent if they're deceived? And then how far into the deception, like, if you lie about your name, is that deception? If you lie about me and this guy actually really know each other, and maybe we've done this before, then does it make it like it's creepy? Don't get me wrong, but then it's like where are the lines even? Where are the lines blurred? Do you know what I'm saying? And like,
but that's just like if you look at it, it's just like you look at someone like R. Kelly that was preying on these young girls. He was giving them that false hope, as in, all right, then cool. I'm gonna make you famous, and you're gonna be the next big thing. Or Harvey Weinstein doing the same thing. He's inviting actresses around to his house. Yeah, we're gonna discuss the script. I've got a big movie like in line for you, and then literally he was trying to have sex with them. He was trying to take advantage because of his power. Do you know what I mean?
The thing
it's like
to me anyway, that's just as it's mad. That's just mad creepy. But I don't know. It's a slippery slope because obviously, man like Harvey Weinstein and them man there. Harvey Weinstein, it wasn't just that he was actually doing. He was actually physically, sexually assaulting women as well. So everyone's clear on that. Because obviously, he just been convicted and sent to jail. And that R. Kelly is even more of a difficult example because he's just having sex with underage girls. So I think that's pretty straightforward. But I feel like the lines do get blurred a bit with, I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult to talk on, and I think even
it is difficult.
Even Arabella's relationship with the guy, I can't remember his name, the one that took off the condom. What was his name again? I'm probably bad with these names.
Dilla, something like that.
Yeah, the writer guy. Yeah, like the fact that so basically the situation happened where they were having sex. He took the condom off, and then he tried to gaslight her. It was like, oh, sorry, I thought you knew. And then she didn't even realize it was a thing until she was listening to that podcast. Remember, the next day she listened to the podcast and they were discussing it. Then she was like, hold on, raw, that's happened to me. And I think that's just another example of a gray area where things happen and sometimes people don't even realize. And then when it came to light that he'd done it to that other girl as well, then it was like, okay, so there's a pattern here. Like, and the thing is with that, this is clearly sexual assault, isn't it? But I think the fact that they still had somewhat of a friendship afterwards, and he still helped her complete the book. Was, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like,
it is. I reckon it's a thing where he kind of helped her in that sense because he kind of felt bad what he'd done, but he thought that they had a bit of a relationship in that sense because they kind of carried on afterwards until she kind of found out from the police that what he'd done was sexual assault in that sense. His name was Zayn, by the way.
Oh yeah, Zayn. Yeah, that's it. And the thing is as well, I think like, again, like the show's complex and the characters are complex, and it's like somebody sexually assaults you, but you still have somewhat of a friendship / relationship with them. So it's not as straightforward as, okay, someone sexually assaults you, call the police, get them out of your, get them locked up, blah, blah, blah. It's a little bit more complex than that. And I think that is probably shown the best in the last episode where we get that Groundhog Day thing where she goes around and it's kind of like she plays through different scenarios.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think it probably ties into the name of like, I May Destroy You, innit? It's like, I feel like that ending kind of said to us that you never, no matter what happens and how things play out, you never really get closure from something like that. I think that's the message that I took from it, because when we went through the different scenarios, it was like, it just came back to the next morning again. And it's like, not like nothing satisfactory, but it's like, what can actually happen to make you feel whole again, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I'm saying? But I guess maybe we need to like, has she given any interviews or anything for it?
Michaela Coel. I don't know. We need to look into that, I haven't really seen anything because I'll be honest, I only just finished watching it completely like yesterday. Like, yesterday evening I finished it. And like as I said, the only thing I kind of really saw what was going on about the show was the whole situation to do with her and Netflix and why she turned them down and why she sacked her agents and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? And what's funny is the way how that scenario worked out with her sacking her agents and the way she kind of wrote it. in the show. I don't know if it happened before or afterwards, but it's like the way how she kind of wrote the show, and literally she was an independent writer. Her agency kind of, they dropped her, didn't they?
Yeah. So they dropped her
Yeah.
in the end, but I think she released the book at the end. That's why she releases the book.
Independently.
Yeah.
So she would have been like 100% all the rights go to her anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because she was actually a good writer. People were interested in hearing her voice. They weren't like,
Mhm.
these agencies, they take you on board in that sense, as in, all right, cool, we can make money from you. And she did have a good deal and whatnot, but I reckon it's a thing whereas they could have supported her even a bit more. Do you know what I mean? And then even though like her boss, I can't remember her boss's name, but her boss being that black woman,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she
yeah.
could relate to her and whatnot. The black woman was like, "Nah, I'm shutting you down, innit? Like literally, I'm not having it." You know what I mean?
Because the thing is,
But
so go on.
no. I was just gonna say, innit? Like I can see, especially like with the, like I said, I don't want to spoil it too much for people, but the whole reveal with Zayn and her thinking that it was the writer that she was, but Zayn was very protected by the agency
Mhm.
because obviously he was a good writer. Do you know what I mean? But literally just covered up his identity. So you get me? They
And
still supported what he done in that sense.
that's literally what I was going to jump into. I was going to say, I think it's telling the fact that he still had his deal, and they just changed his name, and they had him right from a woman's perspective, and it's
Yeah,
like the fact that her boss was a black woman, her boss was black and was a woman, and that she had maybe been sexually assaulted by one of the writers, didn't really stand up for much because it was just
yeah,
kind of like, okay, well, like he's talented, we spent money, so we need to get something out, we need to get something out of him, and it just like obviously that's a part of the subtle messaging as well, isn't it? That regardless of certain times what happens to you, people that are supposed to be on your side will, do you know what I'm saying, will still mess with the ops. But again, it was all complex because then she was still friends with him. Um, you know what I found proper interesting though, the fact that her boss, that black woman, when she found out she had been sexually assaulted, she was like, yes, 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 put that into your story. And it was like,
yeah, yeah,
where's
yeah,
the empathy? Like, do you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
It's like she was literally looking at it as in a business perspective, as in like, I just want to make money off this girl. I don't care what it is.
Mhm.
I want to make money from her. Like, you know what I mean? Like she just saw her as like a piece of meat. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't think Arabella was helping herself in the fact that she wasn't delivering the work which she was getting paid for.
Yeah, she's
But
taking her time.
she had writer's block. It was writer's block because of what she was going through. Like
Yeah,
she was, you saw a destruction of her from the fact that she was basically sexually assaulted by this guy. This guy slipped her roofie and literally took him to a toilet and raped her. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, you must deal with it now. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's
Obviously,
kind of like the world is just, and
yeah,
you know what? There's two points on that. Yeah, quickly before we move on, I think the 2 points that kind of drive that home was that point we were just saying about her work basically being like, at some point, okay, you've been sexually assaulted, but we need to get a return on the money we've spent, and
yeah,
kind of had to push her to do it. And the second one was when Kwame went to when he went to the police station to report his sexual assault, and
yeah,
then the guy was bare like, or like, are you sure? Like, you know, them was like the line of questioning wasn't like there was a sign on the door that says, "Please keep this door closed." The guy left the door open. It was like he just wasn't taking it serious at all.
taking it serious because of you weren't taking it serious because what I think is literally because of Kwame's sexuality,
Mhm.
right? Because Kwame like was a gay man, literally it was all right, cool. You can see the police officer like felt uncomfortable around
Yeah.
him, didn't take him serious. He was just basically being very judgmental, which was completely wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's just like when I saw that as well, and I was thinking to myself, like, come on, man, like you know what I mean, support him, man. You know what I mean? It's just certain things. It's just I don't know, man.
In 2020, certain things you'd expect
Yeah, certain things you
better.
would,
Do
you
you
would,
know what I'm
you
saying?
would,
And
you would.
that exchange, yeah, like not, it was almost comical because it was like it's everything you could do wrong to somebody that's been sexually assaulted, and it was
Yeah,
like even he even tried to downplay it and was like, "Do you sure you want to even?" Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It was just like I'm
yeah.
I'm
Like,
I'm like,
you could have done this anonymously.
uh,
You could have come to me basically with this. And even when the woman came, and goes, "Oh, you're right," and he was like, "Oh yeah," and like she was like, "Okay," and she's carried on walking. Like she
uh,
left.
and that's the thing. Is like sexual assault victims often talk about that feeling of police not or authorities not taking them seriously. Yeah, but while we're on Kwame's character,
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up here, what do you think about the situation with him and the girl? So him being a homosexual male and sparking up a relationship with a woman and not letting her know that he's a gay man and basically having sex with her. What did you think of that situation?
That ties in with what happened with Terry's character. He deceived her.
Yeah.
He deceived her. You know what I mean? And literally, he was on like what a dating website. Whereas he thought to himself, you know what? How can I basically get something out of this? And because he was sexually assaulted, and he wanted to kind of pass it on to someone else, because the way he was having sex with her was the way how he got sexually assaulted, was the
Yeah.
way how he done it to her. And then literally because she didn't want to use like the N word and whatnot, yeah. But she used the word like, what did she called him? She called him like a faggot, basically,
Yeah,
which was obviously a wrong terminology to use, which he more took offense to that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then and then I remember even him talking to Arabella about it, and she was just like, no, like you taking a mick, like, so it's all right to say the N word, but say the F word is completely, you know what I mean? It's completely wrong. But as I said, with what Kwame done, he deceived her, and Arabella kind of tried to show him in that sense, as in, nah, like what you done was wrong. So when he tried to apologize to her inside the cafe and everything, and she just was like, nah,
she wasn't trying to hear it at all.
yeah, she weren't trying to hear it. She was just like, it just kind of reminded her of what happened, didn't it? But she was even good for even showing up, because I'll be honest, the number would have been blocked and everything already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Number would have been blocked already. But she just thinking, wait a second, I just took this guy's virginity.
The thing is that she was like,
I was like, oh mate.
the thing is, she was super, like she was super upset. And the thing is, like, obviously I'm not a woman, so I can't really speak on that. But again, it just shows you that certain times where even though somebody's not bad, so Kwame wasn't a bad person, yeah, and he didn't think what he was doing was incorrect, that you can still hurt people, if that makes sense. So like, whether what he did was right or wrong is going to be a matter of opinion. Some people will say, I don't have to disclose that. Some people will say they feel that you should disclose it. Whatever the weather. But again, it just goes to show you that, like, it's the deception part of it. And I think when Arabella called him out on it and was like, I think that was the moment when she realized that, like, all of these things that we're fighting against, it's not necessarily bad people. It's people that make bad choices and make wrong choices in that aspect. Because when Terry pulled her up and said, well, when you locked my man in the room and made him uncomfortable,
Yeah,
that could have led to a situation.
yeah,
You didn't know what man was thinking. Like, then she realized that herself had displayed certain behaviors that weren't, do you know what I'm saying? That weren't warranted or weren't in line with how she even saw herself. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and then what did you think about Terry and the person she ended up dating, the transgender character she ended up dating in the end?
I feel like with Terry's character, she was kind of looking for love in that sense, and she was looking for happiness. And the person that she actually liked, she just thought, you know what, like, forget it, innit? Like, I'm just gonna basically, if this person makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel happy, then why should I kind of just walk out on them? Do you know what I mean? And as I said, innit, like, that's what was so great about the show. The show touched on the basis of interracial relationships. It touched on the basis of sexuality. Do you know what I mean? Like, it brought up certain things, like, because I'm sure there's a lot of young British people, or most of the world, hasn't really seen like as intimate and deep scenes as, you know what I mean, ever since the movie Moonlight, of like black gay love in that sense. Do you know what I mean? No one's really kind of seen it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, as I said, Michaela, the way she wrote everything out, it was good, man.
Cutting edge stuff. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
I'd like to just give a big shout out to Michaela Coel for writing something so powerful and so good. That's one. And two, like, if you haven't seen it, I advise everybody to go and watch it. Literally, is that good of a show. I can see why, like, this show went through so much battles and wars to get programming and whatnot. Like, yeah, watch it.
I heard that. Hey, my closing statements will be, hey, Michaela, holla at us, man. We got scripts for days, fam. That's my day. We got them scripts on deck. You know, them stories for days. But well, I think we'll wrap it up there. So next week we'll do the Cartel versus the Mob episode, and then we'll take it from there. So if anyone who's listened up to this point, thanks for rocking with us, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Adios, amigos.